A single dad CEO went on a blind date for a friend, but fell in love with a poor girl at first sight. The late afternoon sun streamed through the tall windows of Alex Carter's penthouse, casting a golden glow across the living room. Toy blocks littered the floor. A half-eaten apple rolled off the coffee table. Ellie, his 3.5-year-old daughter, giggled from inside a makeshift pillow fort. Alex, in rolled-up sleeves and dress slacks, crouched beside her, trying to assemble a tiny wooden puzzle shaped like a duck. His phone buzzed against the coffee table. He sighed and answered, without checking the screen. "Whatever it is, make it quick. I am elbows deep in duck pieces." Ethan's voice crackled through. "Alex, listen, I need a favor." "You always need a favor?" "I cannot make it to a dinner tonight. It is a blind date. Can you go instead? Just fill in, please." Alex froze. "You want me to go on a date? For you? She's expecting someone. You just have to show up." He looked at Ellie, who was now putting a sticker on his shoe. "Fine," he said, "but I am bringing my daughter." "What?" "No. Let us see how long she sticks around when she finds out I brought a 3-year-old. He hung up. Ellie looked up. "Where are we going, Daddy?" He stood, scooping her into his arms. "To meet a very pretty lady." "Is she nice?" "I doubt it," he muttered, "but I am not going for me." Ellie giggled. "Can Bunny come?" "Of course. Bunny's essential to the mission." He dressed her in a soft blue dress with yellow flowers, then slipped on a blazer himself. 15 minutes later, they were headed downtown, traffic crawling as the city sparkled into evening. Half a block from the restaurant, Alex slowed at the sound of raised voices. "I gave you a 20, a woman was saying, her voice calm but firm. "The fare was 12. You owe me change." "You gave me a 10, the taxi driver snapped. The woman was young, with golden hair pulled into a messy braid. She wore a beige coat too thin for the weather and carried a canvas tote that looked like it had survived a dozen seasons. Her cheeks were flushed with frustration, or maybe embarrassment. Alex parked quickly and got out, Ellie in his arms. "Is everything all right here?" The driver shrugged. "She's short." Without hesitating, Alex pulled a 20 from his wallet and handed it to the man. "That should cover it." The driver snatched the bill and drove off. The woman turned to Alex, eyes wide. "You did not have to do that." "You were stuck." "I had it handled." Alex adjusted Ellie on his hip. "Sure looked like it." He turned to leave, but she held out a crumpled dollar bill. "Take this." He blinked. "Why?" "I do not like owing strangers." He looked at her, really looked. There was something quiet and proud in her stance. She was not being polite. She meant it. He took the dollar. "Thanks," he said. As he walked away, Ellie whispered, "She was pretty." Alex tightened his grip on her. "Do not get any ideas, kid." But his mind was already elsewhere. Something about the girl with the stormy eyes and the dollar bill was stuck in his head, and he had no idea why. The maitre d' at Les Rivages looked only mildly surprised when Alex arrived, holding the hand of a bouncing toddler dressed like springtime. Ellie skipped beside him, Bunny tucked under one arm. Her excitement was palpable, while Alex looked like he had already made up his mind to be unimpressed. "This way, sir," the maitre d' said, leading them to a small corner table set for 2. Alex raised an eyebrow. "We'll need a booster seat." As they approached the table, Alex stopped short. Sitting alone, hands folded neatly in her lap, was the girl from the taxi. Her golden hair was now tucked into a neater braid, her coat replaced by a simple navy mood dress. She looked up and blinked. "You," they both said at once. Ellie gasped. "It's the pretty girl, the one from the street." She tugged at Alex's coat. "Daddy, it's her. She's here." Alex stood frozen, lips parting, unsure what exactly to say. Hannah was the first to recover. She stood and smiled warmly at Ellie. "And you must be Bunny's mom," she said, crouching down to Ellie's level. Ellie giggled. "No, silly. Bunny's mine. I'm Ellie." "Well, Ellie," Hannah said with a conspiratorial grin, "you have excellent taste in stuffed animals." Ellie beamed. Alex finally pulled out the chair opposite Hannah and sat down with a sigh, placing Ellie between them. "So, you're the blind date?" "Seems that way," Hannah replied. "Your friend Ethan texted me a half-hour ago saying he was sending someone in his place. And he forgot to mention that his stand-in would be a single father crashing the date with a 3-year-old? I do not mind," she said. "She's adorable." Alex leaned back in his chair, his tone cool. "You always strike up conversations with strange men's children?" Hannah met his eyes, unruffled. "Only when they speak to me first, and when they seem curious and kind." Ellie, now perched on her knees on the chair, reached across the table. "Can I sit with you?" she asked Hannah. Alex opened his mouth to object, but Hannah had already extended her arms. Ellie climbed across and plopped happily into Hannah's lap, Bunny in tow. Alex blinked. "She usually does not do that." "She probably knows I won't make her eat anything green," Hannah teased, tickling Ellie's side gently. Ellie squealed with laughter. The sound echoed around the quiet dining room like a bell. Alex watched, arms folded, not entirely sure what to make of it. This was not how tonight was supposed to go. He was supposed to make things awkward, uncomfortable, drive this woman away. Instead, Ellie had clearly decided Hannah was her new best friend. He looked at Hannah. She was focused entirely on Ellie, her face soft, eyes warm, every movement gentle but confident. She did not seem like someone trying to impress a rich man. She seemed like someone who genuinely liked kids and was good with them. Alex cleared his throat. "You're taking this very well." She looked up, amused. "Should I be offended?" "Most women would be." Differently. "I'm not most women." "No," Alex said quietly. "You're not." They ordered food. Grilled cheese for Ellie, soup and salad for Hannah, steak tartare for Alex, though he barely touched it. He spent more time watching the girl across from him break pieces of bread for Ellie and ask about her favorite cartoon. Hannah never once asked Alex about his company, his penthouse, or his net worth. When she asked about Ellie's favorite bedtime story, Alex almost choked on his water. "You're good with her," he admitted finally. "I like kids. They make more sense than adults most days." Ellie nodded solemnly. "Adults forget to have fun." "They do," Hannah said, brushing Ellie's hair from her forehead. Alex glanced away, unsettled by the sudden warmth in his chest. This was not what he expected, and that, somehow, bothered him the most. Alex did not eat much during dinner. The salmon on his plate sat mostly untouched, growing cold. His fork was still. His gaze, however, kept drifting toward the other side of the table, where Hannah was now carefully wiping the corners of Ellie's mouth with a napkin, her expression patient, soft. Ellie giggled. "That tickles." "Oops, my apologies," Hannah said with a grin, gently dabbing her cheeks. "But I cannot let your jelly smile win." Ellie beamed. "Can you tell me more about the panda?" Alex blinked. Hannah glanced at him as if asking permission. He gave a brief nod, though he did not say a word. He was watching her, not suspiciously now, but with something else. A shift that even he could feel. Hannah turned back to Ellie. "Well, the panda was afraid of climbing the honey tree because it was very tall, but guess what?" "What?" Ellie leaned forward, eyes wide. She did it anyway. Because sometimes the sweetest things come after the scariest climbs. Ellie clapped her hands in delight. Alex leaned back slightly, arms folded. "You come up with those on the spot?" Hannah shrugged lightly. "I work with kids. Improvisation is part of survival." "And how did you end up doing that?" he asked, his tone still measured but no longer biting. "I started at the center about 2 weeks ago," she replied, then smiled wistfully. "After my brother moved out, I needed something steady again. I used to do a lot of babysitting when we were younger. Alex raised an eyebrow. Brother? Hannah nodded. He's 18 now. I basically raised him. Our parents died in a car accident when I was 20. I was in college at the time, had a full scholarship, but I dropped out. Someone had to take care of him. There was no self-pity in her voice, just fact. And the cupcakes? He asked. That's my late-night hustle, she said with a wink. Helps cover rent. And kids love baked goods, especially panda-shaped ones. Alex's gaze dropped to Ellie, who was now carefully stacking sugar packets beside her plate. She said suddenly, without looking up. Miss Hannah told me a story about the panda in class. Alex froze. He turned slowly to Hannah. What did she just say? Hannah looked equally surprised. Ellie looked up, confused. Yesterday she told me about pandas climbing trees to get honey. Alex's voice sharpened, though he tried to stay calm. You work at Bright Steps? Yes, Hannah said, blinking. I started recently. Her voice faltered. Wait. Ellie is your daughter? You didn't know that? Alex asked, startled. No, she said quickly. I mean, I only see first names on the roster, and your name, Carter, never came up. Her emergency contact is someone named Richard. My father-in-law, Alex muttered. Hannah's face softened. I had no idea. Ellie tugged at his sleeve. Dad, Hannah played with teddy bears with me too. Alex looked between the two of them. His original plan had been to ruin this dinner, bring Ellie, make the whole thing awkward. But instead, here was this woman, this strange, blonde, cupcake-making storyteller who already knew his daughter. And more than that, Ellie liked her, trusted her. He had said... Alex leaned back in his seat and finally allowed himself a small breath. He was beginning to see something he had not expected, a completely different kind of woman, and that disturbed him more than he wanted to admit. The check arrived just as Alex was folding Ellie's napkin and placing it on the table. The waiter set down the leather folder quietly, with a discreet nod. Hannah did not seem to notice. It was Ellie who spotted it first. Is that the menu again? She asked, yawning and hugging her bear. Alex reached for the folder, then paused deliberately. His fingers patted the pockets of his jacket, then his slacks, then back again. His brow furrowed. Oh, he said, voice neutral. I must have forgotten my wallet. He let the words hang. He had not forgotten it, of course. It was in the inside pocket of his coat. But something inside him wanted to see, needed to know, how Hannah would react. Hannah blinked. Really? Alex shrugged. Seems like it. A long second passed. Then she smiled, genuinely, and reached into her tote bag without a flicker of hesitation. Then let me get it, she said simply. Alex looked at her, a bit thrown. Hannah placed her card in the folder, sliding it toward the edge of the table. You did not eat much. I, on the other hand, tried 3 kinds of dessert and might need to skip dinner tomorrow. Alex's mouth opened slightly. You? Really want to pay? I see why not, she said. It is just dinner, and this one's on me. But, he started. Hannah raised her hand gently, not to interrupt, but to offer something even more cutting. Grace. Listen, she said, her voice soft. I do not know what kind of women you are used to meeting, but I am not here for anything but honest conversation and maybe a good slice of cake. Which, by the way, you let me steal from your daughter's plate. Alex chuckled, though it was mostly breath. Hannah leaned forward slightly. It is just dinner, Alex. Let me do something nice. And in that moment something cracked. Not in a painful way. More like something deep within him shifted, like a dam loosening around a corner he never noticed before. He had met so many people who wanted something from him. Deals, contracts, opportunities, connections. women who smiled too easily at his title and watched his watch more than his eyes. But Hannah Moore, who worked 2 jobs, raised her brother, who told stories about pandas to his daughter, just wanted to cover dinner because, in her eyes, she had eaten the most. He could not remember the last time someone had been kind to him, without agenda. "I'll pay next time," he muttered. Her eyes flicked to him with quiet amusement. "We will see." Outside the restaurant, the air had cooled into that gentle kind of dusk. Streetlights blinking awake, cars humming steadily by, and the faint scent of warm bread from a bakery down the block. Alex opened the passenger door of his car, motioning to Hannah. "Let me drive you home." But Hannah stepped back. "Thank you, but I'd like to walk." He frowned. "Walk?" She nodded. "Just a little. Clears my head. I do it after long days." Ellie clung to her bear, eyes heavy. "Miss Hannah, come to my house." Hannah bent down, brushing a stray curl from Ellie's forehead. "You need sleep, little panda. But we'll see each other soon." Ellie nodded, too tired to protest further. Alex watched as Hannah straightened, waved, and walked away, slowly, into the evening glow. Her silhouette shrank with each step, the hem of her coat catching the breeze, her posture relaxed, her stride steady and unhurried. He stayed still for a while, one hand on the car door. Something about the simplicity of her goodbye, about her choosing a walk instead of a ride in his luxury SUV, felt louder than any speech. As he settled Ellie into the back seat and clicked her buckle, she whispered sleepily, "Dad, I like Miss Hannah." Alex did not answer right away. He shut the door gently, slid into the driver's seat, and sat there. He was not sure what Hannah Moore wanted from the world. But tonight it seemed clear it was not his money. And for the first time in a long time, he wondered what it might feel like to let someone see past the walls. Alex did not intend to follow her. He told himself that as he buckled Ellie into her seat, as he told Thomas to take the long route home, as he watched the faint figure of Hannah disappear around the corner. But something in him tugged. Not suspicion, not curiosity, concern. The idea of her walking alone in this city past nightfall without a coat thick enough or a car waiting at the curb, he could not shake it. So he told Thomas to circle once, then again. "Keep your distance," he said quietly. A few minutes later they spotted her ahead, walking down a side street lined with shuttered stores and flickering street lamps. She walked briskly, but not hurried. Her tote bag bounced slightly with each step, and her hands were deep in her coat pockets. She stopped at an old building, a faded red brick walk-up with chipped paint on the stair rail and vines climbing the rusted gate. Alex lowered the window slightly, watching as she climbed the stairs. 1, 2, 3. 4 full flights. No elevator. No doorman. Just a buzzing intercom that barely crackled. When she disappeared inside, he stayed. The building faced an alley with a fire escape. A dim light spilled out from the 4th floor. At her apartment. Through the window, he could see her in a small kitchen, barely wide enough for one person to move freely. She poured water into a kettle, then pulled a bowl from a cabinet above the sink. Minutes later, she was slurping instant noodles over the counter, one leg tucked underneath her. He should have looked away, but then she did something that stopped him. She opened her bag and pulled out a small, worn planner. The pages were full of colorful notes, stickers, and paper clips. Next to her, a half-graded stack of papers. She scribbled something with a purple pen, then added a small panda sticker to a corner of one sheet. Ellie, his daughter had brought home one of those stickers last week. Then she reached into a drawer and pulled out a sock, torn at the toe. She threaded a needle with practiced fingers and began stitching it closed, humming quietly. A sock. She was repairing her socks. Alex looked down at his own hands. Cufflinks, watch, tailored coat. In that moment, something inside him shifted again. It was not pity. It was not guilt. It was admiration. and something he did not want to name. "Drive," he told Thomas softly. That night he could not sleep. He tucked Ellie in, turned off the lights, and lay in bed staring at the ceiling. His mind replayed the sound of Hannah laughing at dinner, the way she wiped Ellie's mouth with the corner of a napkin, the way she had said, "Let me pay," as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Who was she? And why could he not stop thinking about her? By sunrise, Alex sat at the kitchen counter, sipping black coffee he had not even tasted. Then he did something wildly unlike himself. He opened his laptop and found the website printed on the corner of Hannah's planner, Moore Goodies. A tiny online bakery with hand-drawn logos and poorly cropped pictures. Half the items were marked "sold out." All of them looked delicious. He created a fake profile, used a random name, and placed an order. 12 boxes of cinnamon shortbread and lemon raspberry loaves, 15 packs of chocolate chip cookies. He clicked rush delivery, then sat back, not to impress her, not to rescue her, just to remind her in some small way that someone out there believed in what she did. Ellie woke late that morning, rubbing her eyes as she clutched her bear and wandered into the kitchen. "Don't like that," she mumbled. Alex turned, crouched beside her. "Good morning, Ellie Bean." She climbed into his lap. Then, in that sweet little voice that always caught him off guard, she asked, "Did Hannah get home okay? Was she cold?" Alex blinked. He looked at his daughter, who somehow, already, cared for someone she barely knew. "I hope not," he whispered. He kissed her forehead. But he knew. He had watched the whole walk. And still, her question echoed louder than anything else in his heart. Was she cold? And why did he care this much? For a few days, things had felt easy. Texts exchanged late at night, quick coffees before work, a quiet lunch at a park bench, while Ellie chased pigeons. Nothing official, nothing spoken aloud. But something gentle had begun to bloom. And then she disappeared. No replies, no calls, just silence. At first, Alex assumed she was busy, then maybe sick. By day 3, he was pacing in his office, rereading her last message from 2 nights ago. Today was nice. Ellie's panda story made me laugh. Sleep well, Alex. He had. It had been the first peaceful sleep in months. But now, the quiet was deafening. By the end of the week, when a small cream envelope arrived at the Pierce Industries front desk with his name written in careful script, he knew. He opened it alone in his office. "Alex, I did not know how else to say this, and I figured a letter was more honest than vanishing. You are a good man, a kind man, one who makes his daughter feel safe enough to nap on someone's shoulder in the middle of a busy restaurant. But I am not the kind of woman who belongs in your world. I do not own a single dress that costs more than what I make in a week. I have to think twice before using the dryer in winter. I patch my socks. My dreams are practical, not grand. You are skyscrapers and corner offices and plans made 5 years in advance. I am temporary. I always have been. Please do not try to make me permanent in a world that has never had space for me. Tell Ellie, I think she is the bravest little girl I have ever met. Hannah." Alex sat still for a long time, the letter trembling slightly in his hands. Temporary. What a cruel word. He had not seen it coming. The way she had smiled at Ellie, the way she had looked at him when she thought he was not watching. She had never seemed uncertain before. He picked up his phone. Typed, "You do not get to decide what world you belong to, Hannah. Not alone." Then deleted it. She had made her choice. Later that night, Ellie climbed into his lap with her usual enthusiasm, her bear in one hand and a crumpled paper flower in the other. "Oh, Dad?" she whispered, tugging his sleeve. "Yes, Ellie Bean. Is Miss Hannah mad at me?" Alex's breath caught. No, sweetie, of course not. She said she would teach me a song about stars. I practiced. Alex closed his eyes. She had to go somewhere for a while, he said gently. But she did not say goodbye. That made something in his chest twist. That Hannah, so soft with his daughter, so careful, had left without a word to Ellie. He looked down at his daughter's small face, her hope, her confusion. Sometimes grown-ups get scared, he said at last. Like monsters? Ellie asked. No, not monsters. More like scared they are not enough. Ellie frowned, processing. But she was enough for me. Alex smiled, and just like that his heart cracked again. I know, sweetheart, he whispered. She was for me too. Alex stood in the hallway of his penthouse, staring at the small drawing taped to the refrigerator. Ellie had drawn it that morning after breakfast, with all the proud concentration of a child creating her masterpiece. Crayon lines, messy colors, but clear enough to make his heart stutter. 3 figures. One tall, one small, one with a yellow circle of scribbled hair. Above their heads, Dad, me, Hannah. Beside them, a crooked little house, a garden full of purple dots, and a sun that smiled. He had not been able to speak for a full minute after Ellie handed it to him. I drew our family, she said, even if Miss Hannah is far. Now, hours later, the image haunted him. Family. It was a word that used to mean only pain. After Claire died, he told himself love was something he did not deserve again. He had tried so hard to save her, doctor after doctor, hospital after hospital, and in the end, she had gone, with fear in her eyes. She had squeezed his hand and whispered, "Take care of our girl." But there was more she did not say. Words she had never had time to speak. Dreams she had never gotten to live. He had carried that guilt every day since. He was the one who still breathed while she was gone. The one who got to wake up to sunshine and a daughter's giggles. The one who had started to feel again. And now, because of that fear of loving someone only to lose them again, he had let Hannah walk away. He had let her think she was not enough, when the truth was he was the one who had felt unworthy all along. An hour later, Alex walked through the doors of the Children's Center. The smell of finger paint and soap greeted him. The walls were lined with cheerful posters and tiny coats. A group of kids were napping in the corner on floor mats. And at the far end of the room, kneeling beside a child's broken toy, was Hannah. She looked tired. More than tired. She looked like someone trying very hard to be okay. She stood when she saw him, lips parting slightly in surprise. "Alex?" He did not give her time to finish. He stepped forward, pulling something from his coat pocket. A folded piece of paper. Ellie's drawing. He held it out. "I know you think you do not belong," he said quietly, "that my life is too much, that you are not enough. But this little girl disagrees, strongly." Hannah took the paper with trembling fingers. Her eyes scanned it and then filled with tears. "I cannot be the one who ruins everything," she whispered. "You have worked so hard to rebuild after—" "You would not ruin anything," Alex said gently. "You would make it real again." She looked at him, broken open and raw. "Why me?" Alex exhaled slowly. "Because I lost someone I loved," he said, voice hoarse. "And I have lived every day since thinking that I was the reason she died, with so many regrets. That I could never let someone in again, not fully, not truly." Hannah's eyes shone. "But then you came along," he continued, and Ellie laughed like I have not seen her laugh in years, and I started sleeping through the night, and suddenly I was imagining what it would be like if someone stayed, not just in our lives, but in our hearts. He stepped closer. "I cannot promise I will always know how to do this, but I want to try, With you. Silence stretched between them. And then Hannah broke. She crumpled forward into his arms, the drawing pressed between them like a fragile little hope. Alex held her, not as a man rescuing someone broken, but as someone finally brave enough to admit he needed saving too. "I never wanted anything from you," she whispered into his shoulder, "except the chance to be seen." "I see you," he said, "even the parts I did not want to face, especially those." Outside, it started to rain. But inside, for the first time in years, Alex felt warmth spread through the cracks. The community library was warmer than usual that Saturday morning. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, casting golden beams across the children's section, where a group of little ones sat cross-legged on a colorful rug. Parents stood nearby, smiling politely, holding coats and snack bags. At the center of it all sat Hannah. Her blonde hair was tied in a loose braid, her soft voice rising and falling as she read from a picture book about a sleepy panda learning to love his mismatched family. Ellie was curled in her lap, giggling at the silly voices Hannah used for each character. The little girl's arms were wrapped around Hannah's waist, her head resting against her chest as if it had always belonged there. From the back of the room, Alex stood silently, hands in his coat pockets. He watched as Hannah pointed to the drawings in the book, engaging every child with ease, pausing when one asked a question, laughing with another. There was something natural about her, something rooted in the way she gave every child her full attention, even when half the adults in the room had stopped listening. When the story ended, the children clapped, a few parents joining in. "Thank you, Miss Hannah," someone said. Hannah smiled. "Thank you for letting me share the morning with you." As the crowd began to disperse, Alex stepped forward. Ellie saw him first. "Dad," she squealed, hopping off Hannah's lap and rushing into his arms. He scooped her up easily, pressing a kiss to her cheek. "Did you like the story?" Ellie nodded with bright eyes. "Miss Hannah made all the voices, even the panda's hiccup." Alex looked over at Hannah, who was straightening the books, cheeks flushed but glowing. "Can I steal a minute?" he asked. She nodded and they stepped aside, Ellie still clinging to his neck. Alex cleared his throat. The room had quieted. A few people lingered, watching curiously. "I used to think," he began, "that loving someone meant risking everything, that letting someone into your life came with a cost I could not afford anymore." He looked at Hannah. "But then you came along, and you never asked for anything. You just showed up, and kept showing up." Hannah blinked rapidly, her eyes glossy. Alex continued, his voice steadier now. "You taught me that love is not about promising forever. It is about choosing to stay, today, and then again tomorrow, and the day after that." He looked down at Ellie, then back up. "And somehow you made both of us feel like we were enough, exactly as we are." A silence fell over the small group, still watching. Then Ellie leaned forward from his arms, wrapping one arm around Alex's neck and the other around Hannah's shoulder. "Miss Hannah is part of our family now, okay, Daddy?" she said, with the kind of certainty only a child could declare. Alex smiled. Hannah let out a choked laugh, tears slipping down her cheeks. "For the first time," she whispered, "I do not feel temporary anymore." Alex reached for her hand, fingers intertwining. "You never were," he said. Outside the window, the sky turned a soft pink, the kind of sky that made people believe in second chances. And inside the library, in a circle of warmth and old books and small hands, a family, imperfect, unexpected, but real, finally began. And just like that, a cold-hearted CEO who once believed he had no room left for love found himself forever changed by the quiet warmth of a woman who never thought she belonged. Because sometimes family isn't built from perfection. It's built from presence, from bedtime stories and shared silence, from the brave act of choosing each other, day after day. If this story stirred your heart, if it made you believe again in unexpected love and healing, do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to Soul-Stirring Stories. We bring you emotional tales that speak not only to the mind, but to the soul. Until next time, keep believing in love, no matter how unlikely it seems.